call Jami-Lee Ross.
Mr. Speaker, I have to say that the parties opposite should be really going out there in the public and telling the public how many operations won't be delivered if a bill like this passes, because $150 million in lost revenue would be the impact on the health budget. $150 million in lost revenue. And Mr. Speaker, when the Labour Party and the New Zealand First Party say that we're underfunding health, they forget the fact that we've poured hundreds of millions of dollars more into health. It's reached almost $16 billion. That is a huge amount more than the Labour Party under Annette King was spending. And, Mr. Speaker, we're seeing more operations being delivered. And the risk to New Zealanders, the risk to the health system, the risk to the elderly people who this purports to support is that there will be less of them getting access to elective surgeries. There will be less of those people getting access to first specialist assessments. And, Mr. Speaker, that is the negative aspects of this bill. That's the negative ramifications of a bill like this. And, Mr. Speaker, if they want to front up to the public, that is what they should be talking about. Mr. Speaker, 50,000 more people a year get access to elective surgeries under this government. That would fall off if we lost $150 million in revenue because of this bill. Mr. Speaker, an extra 110,000 people get access to first specialist assessments compared to 2008 because we're funding it more. If $150 million of the health budget was lost because of this bill, Mr. Speaker, that would be a negative aspect, a negative impact for them. Mr. Speaker, the 5,500 doctors and nurses that have been poured into the health system, Mr. Speaker, some of them would be put at risk as well because of the lost revenue under this bill. So when the parties opposite go out and try and say they're saving private health care for New Zealanders, they have to talk about the fact that they're actually costing the health budget some money. Mr. Speaker, the amount of funding that this would cost, an extra cost to the government because of lost revenue, would not actually be helpful to New Zealanders. Mr. Speaker, there would be lost revenue, and that's the impact that Tracy Martin and this bill are putting forward. Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding the fact that there are negative ramifications and there are discriminatory provisions of this bill, Mr. Speaker, overall, from a financial perspective, it is poor for health in New Zealand and is poor for New Zealanders. The side of the House will not be supporting it, and it should not go through this House.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Tracy Martin.
Mr. Speaker, the last speaker seemed to be referring to notes around the figures. I wonder if he could table the figures for the $150 million that they're talking about.
No, that's not a point of order. I'm quoting the Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr. Speaker, very interesting that both